Hey everybody. So, as promised, I thought I'd try and actually make a little content. I have two of these. They are 3mm thick spacers that will hopefully let me fit the knock-on wheels to the Cobra to move the wheel out just far enough to clear the brake caliper. Maybe with a little bit of judicious filing of the brake caliper as well. But anyway, I ordered them as Jag fitment, and they're the right PCD, so they're the right hole circles. But the center bore is 64mm, which is sort of 2009 Jag on, I think, rather than the 70 something that it should be. In true television form, here's what I made earlier. And as you can see, there's a bit of difference between the two. So, turned out it was a good project for my remaining lathe. I just sold one of them. Normally, everything I do on this lathe, like repeated concentricity, hasn't been a problem, so I've just used the 3-jaw chuck that came with it, which was all right, but not perfect. This is too big to go in a 3-jaw chuck because I need to bore out this center. I can't hold it with a set of outside jaws in here. I have to hold it with a set of inside jaws out here. But my 4-jaw is just big enough. Actually, it's big enough with a little bit to spare. Which meant that for the first time ever, framing, I got to indicate in something to be concentric, the bore of the lathe. People like Adam Booth, ahem79 on YouTube make this look really easy and take like seconds, but it takes me minutes, several minutes. So you can watch me now struggle to figure out which way is in and out on a dial indicator, probably repeatedly. And, I get this in there. I'll move the camera a bit so you can actually see what I'm doing, and maybe less of me. All right, camera moved. So let's get this into the chuck. Try again. So, just loosely in there for now. I'm going to take my DTI, and I know it should be like a finger gauge, but since I don't have one of those, there we go. So you probably can't see the indicator, can you? Not at all. Let's set you up somewhere else. Okay, that's about as good as I can get it. Can't really get it any closer to the lathe. I could do with some mounts, like a wall mount or something to hang you, so that you were just looking down over here. But, you can see the needle, right? So as it moves around, like, that's the closest point to me. That's the furthest away. So I need to move these 2 jaws in and these 2 jaws out. This is where it all gets a bit funny, because, like, I don't have a feel yet for how much I need to move the jaws. So what tends to happen is I overshoot massively and make it worse, like much worse. So that's furthest away. And I think that's what it comes down to, is feel, right? So that's closest, furthest away. Let's try tightening. See, I think I made that worse. Not to mention my gauge is pretty abysmal. All right, we'll call that good enough. You know, it's moving a bit, but not too bad. So hopefully you can see the difference between the wild swing earlier and that. That's what I was aiming for. So now I can just bore out the inside. I've got to change my tool post around and bore it out. So I'll set you back over there. Okay, moved you. So take this out. Now, the way I did this earlier, there are 3 operations. That's why this is all crooked. And the last operation is to put a chamfer on the inside and outside face here, so you don't slice your fingers off and so that it goes on a bit easier. That's why my compound is at a funky angle. That doesn't actually really matter. But what I do need to do is at least reset my tool post to be square to the work. I'm going to cheat. I can't cheat because the jaws get in the way. Okay. In that case, set it ever so slightly off square because I'm going to be using a boring bar anyway. So go out, put my, where did I put it? Has to be a steel boring bar. These spaces are only aluminium, so I don't need anything fancy. I just need tool on center height, basically. Should be good. So, you're ready to take a cut. Yeah. I know I'm aiming for the same size as this guy. So, I'll make life easier for myself by setting my calipers to 74 and then zeroing them. Now I can measure this, and it tells me that I am 7 millimeters shy. So just have to take 7 mil out of it. We'll just pretend that didn't happen. So, put my boring bar on, but I can't get close enough to the work with my compound on an angle. The chuck hits the carriage first. So, I have to do 2 things. And one is square up the tool post, and the other is reset my compound square so that I can slide the compound out and use that to sneak up on the work. There. See, now I can wind my compound out so that my tool sticking out past the end of the carriage. Yeah, yeah, there we go. Right, let's try that again. taking like 20 thou cuts. This is an imperial lathe, by the way, and I'm sneaking up on a metric measurement. But it's a slightly better lathe because I'm that. That's about 60 thou out of the work. $80,000. So let's have a check. And I am 2.8 millimeters shy of where I want to be. So I'm going to stop being quite so aggressive and we'll go down to like 10 thou cuts, which is 20 thou off the work. .2, so we took half a mil. So we'll take one 20 thou cut, and that should take us to within, you know, about a mil. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm not power feeding this, because this lathe does have a powered cross-slide, powered feed, sorry. I'll show you the other end in a minute and why I'm not. .1 mil, I want to take about, I don't know, half a mil and then measure the final size, so we'll take 10 thou. And something I should have showed you earlier, I've got this pair of telescoping gauge. I set that off the bore of one of the wheels earlier. So that's my little checker. It doesn't quite fit, so another half mil probably. Yeah, we're about half a mil away, so let's take 5 thou. That should give us 10 thou total cut, which should give us a half mil. You can tell there's a lot of spring and everything because I can get like 4 spring passes out. Still cutting. Mostly just rubbing now. So let's see. We don't quite go in there, so we're probably a quarter mil away, something like that. A few thou, just under 0.2 of a mil. We'll take a couple of thou out and call it good, I think. And there we go, they just sneak in there. So it should be good. It says getting stuck. So Now I want to put the chamfer on. This side's easy. I can do this without resetting this. But to the other side, I take it out, flip it over, re-indicate it in true, and then take the cut. So, first, what we want to do, take out our boring bar, and we'll just put in, not that guy, this guy, little insert tool. I have a few of those, to be honest. On this lathe on soft metals, I kind of prefer high-speed steel, but you know, I use this guy because he's handy. And I want to set my compound back on about a 30-degree angle, somewhere around there. Alright, it's more like 45. Close enough. And then turn this guy around because we're going to use the compound to cut our chamfer on. So we're going to come in like this, wind the cross slide all the way in to the point on the outside face where we want the cut to start, and then go in like that with the compound. And I'm just eyeballing this because this is totally not a critical dimension. Yeah, that seems good. And then we'll wind the compound in. And what we have, that you can't see from up there, is a nice chamfer. Now, as I say, I have to take this out, re-indicate it back in with the indicator, cut the chamfer on the other side, and I'll show you what I made. That indicator is really annoying that the base unscrews. And then it's just flapping around in the breeze. Okay. I'm going to call that close enough. Because again, I'm just cutting the chamfer now. Yeah, not bad. Part done. So, turn my oil is off. This one runs way too fast because in that short session I lost all of the oil. Aside from that. Job done. So, let's take this out. And there we go. They should be of the same size, give or take. Half mil or so. The proof will be whether or not they actually fit on the car, but you know. So, framing. I told you I'd take you around the other end. Let me take you around the other end. Hold on. Stay right there.